Muted.
Session. So let's get started. So yesterday we saw some basics of a class. So how to define or declare a class. Hope I am audible to everyone. Am I audible to everyone? Yeah, thanks Kavita. Yeah, so we got started with the classes, how to define a class, what exactly is a class, what are instance variables and methods, okay, and how to create an object of a class, right? And then lastly we saw what is a dot operator and how to use dot operator, okay. Let us move to the next slide. Let us continue the topic on introduction to classes now, okay. Yeah. So we know how to declare a class, right? We know how to declare objects. We know how to define a class, declare or define objects of that particular class. Okay. So let's see more about what happens when we try to do new operator. Okay. When we try to use new operator, let's see what happens actually. Give me a second. Okay. Okay. So we all know, by now we all know that a class definition defines a new data type, right? And then a class name, as we have seen in our last class, a class name is used for creating objects of that particular class. Okay. So we use new operator. Use new operator to create objects of particular class, right? So how do we get what are the steps involved in creating an object? So we use new operator. This creates a it allocates a memory and then returns a reference to that particular memory, and then that reference is assigned to a variable. That is when the variable becomes an object. Okay, that when we use this new operator, right? That is creating an object itself is a two-step process. Okay, creating an object itself is a two-step process. Let us see what are those two steps. First one, okay, what do? We declare a variable of that particular class. This is nothing but our okay. This is a variable, declaring a variable of particular class. So this is called as variable of type book. Variable of type book. Okay, this is just a variable. So it is not as of now. It is not pointing to anything. It is not referring to anything. It is not referring to any object. Okay, what we have done? We have just declared a variable of class book. This is a variable of type book. Okay, so we have not yet assigned an object to this because here we have not yet used new operator. Okay, that is why this variable is not referring to any object. Okay, this variable is not yet referring to any object. Okay, so how do we create? That is first step is just declare a variable of the particular class, any particular class. Okay, then what we do, we have to create a object. We have to create an object. Okay, then assign it to the variable. Assign it to the variable. Okay, so first step is book Okay, then what we do, we create an object. How do we create an object? By using new operator. Okay, this creates an object. New will create an object of type book. Okay, and then it returns a reference to this object. It returns a reference to the object created. Okay, it returns a reference to that object created. That reference is when you say, okay, when you say book is equal to new book object, this returns a reference which we can store it in a variable of type book. Okay. So first step, what did we do? We created a variable. In second step, we created an object of that particular class, and then assign the reference to that object to a variable of same type, that is book. Okay. Did everyone understand this two-step process, creating an object? Okay, only 3 people responded, you, Kavita and Hari. So as them all others have understood. First what we do, we will create a variable, then an object, and assign a reference to that object. This reference is the reference that is returned by new after creating an object of book is similar to the address of a memory location where this particular object is created. Okay, it returns a reference to the memory location where this particular object is created, and that can be stored in a variable of same type, right? This is the type, book is a type. Okay, it returns a reference of type book which can be stored in a variable of type book. Yes, Hari. Yeah, we'll come to that. We'll come to that. That is whatever. So what Hari is telling is, what we can write this way also, right? We can write this way also, right? That's what he's asking. We can write this way also. Yeah, it is the same thing. Okay. So we have split it into 2 steps just for our understanding. Okay. Just for our understanding, we have split it into 2 steps. Okay. So what does this? Let us try to understand what does this new operator actually does. Okay. This new operator actually allocates memory. Okay. It allocates memory to an object. It creates an object and allocates memory dynamically. Okay, it creates an object, allocates memory. Creating an object is nothing but it allocates memory to that particular object. Okay, give me a second. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, it allocates memory for an object dynamically. It means dynamically means at runtime. When you run program, Java program, right? When you run Java program, that is when your objects are created. When Java program is running, that time objects are created. Okay, not before that. So new operator allocates memory dynamically. Okay, dynamically, and it returns a reference to that particular object. Okay, so as we just discussed, it returns a reference to that particular object, similar to your memory address that we've discussed long back, right? It's like it stores which we cannot read in Java, okay, which we cannot manipulate in Java. Okay, Java does not give the power to manipulate memory addresses. Okay, we can just using new operator, we can just get the address which is, I mean, you can't see also. Okay, it doesn't actually represent the actual address that we can see in C and C++. Okay, so it returns a reference to that particular object, and which we can use it to store it in a declared variable of same type. Okay, declared variable of a same type. So since this particular variable stores the reference of a particular object of a class, particular object of a class, okay. So yeah, excuse me. So actually, I'm working on a couple of production issues. Okay, I'm working on a couple of production issues. So it's going on. So in between, I'm taking this class. So in between, if I kind of like stop, just excuse me. Okay. Yeah. So it returns the variable, whatever the reference. Okay, whatever the memory address, if we can call that, whatever the memory address that is returned by new, okay, returned by new, we store it in a variable, right? Because we store the reference in a particular variable of same type, these variables are also called as references. Because we say this, okay, say for example, I may rename it as my book, okay, and rename it as my book. What it says, what I want to say is, my book is a reference to this particular object. Okay, my book is a reference to this particular object. Okay, so that is why we call this as the variables as references to the particular object. Okay, we call these variables, whatever the variable that we declare, right, they are called as reference to a particular object. So as we know, as we have seen here, all objects are created dynamically. Okay, all objects are created dynamically. When the program is running, that is when your objects are created. So what is the advantage of creating objects dynamically? So when the program is running, the program can decide how many objects are needed for its execution. Based on that one, it can create as many number of objects it wants, or I mean, it depends on the program's requirement, how many objects you have created. Similarly, that many number of objects will be created. Okay. Let's move on to the next slide. So the two steps process that I just discussed, it is mentioned here. That is, first we declare a variable of my book. Okay. So this is nothing but create, similar to like we have, say for example, my book. Okay. So we just have created an object. It's not actually an object as of now. It is just a reference variable. Okay. Reference variable. Okay. When we use new operator and assign the reference to my book object, that is when this becomes an object. Okay, this becomes an object, actual object, which the physical, I mean, this new operator allocates memory for a particular object, right? That we can refer using this particular identifier. Okay, say for example, in your memory, an object is created. Okay, that this particular portion of memory is occupied by your object. We give a name like my book to refer to this particular object. Okay, similar to our primitive data types, we create a variable, right? So using the name of the variable, we refer to that memory location and value stored in that particular memory location. Similar to that one, we use this identifier to refer to that particular object. Okay, so the actual object is created and referenced using my book now, because we have assigned the reference to my book. After the new operator, actual object exists in memory. and all the members declared within that particular class. Okay, each object, as we discussed yesterday, each object will have its own members declared in that particular class. Okay, each object will have its own members. Okay, all those things are inside that particular object. Okay, let us try to understand the new in more detail. So this is the syntax. We have already created an object, right? This is the syntax for creating an object. So we have earlier declared a variable of a particular class type. Then we use new and then create an object, assign particular variable. Okay, the class variable is nothing but a variable of class type. Class name is name of the class. Okay, the name of the class is nothing but the class of which we are defining an object, declaring an object. Okay, so this particular part, right, it is a very important. Okay, this particular part is very important. So this is called as constructor. This is called as constructor. Okay, say for example we have book. Okay, and book. Okay, so to this book we create new object. We will see about this constructor. Okay, so but let us understand this one. Okay, as of now, we don't have any parameters here, right? So this is our open and close parenthesis, and we can have parameters inside this open and close parameters. Okay, so the constructor for book is okay. The constructor for book is so. Am I audible? I'm not sure. I'm seeing somebody disconnecting and logging again. Yeah. Okay, Pragati. Yeah. So this is the constructor for book class. Okay. This is the constructor for book class. So you see that name of the class is there, and then you open and close parenthesis. Okay. So this name, this is the name of the class. So if you save name of the class as book, the constructor will be exactly similar to the name of the class with open and close parenthesis. Okay. Okay. Can all of you? So are you all able to see my screen? Please confirm, because Kavita is okay. Okay. Give me a second. Give me a second. So here it is stuck actually. Okay. 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 Give me a second. Okay. Looks like here my screen is stuck actually. I'm not able to do anything. Okay. This is not actually responding to my clicks. Okay, yeah, all of you be in the call itself. I'll just log out and log in again. Okay, so you be there. I'll just log out and log in. Okay. Okay, nothing is happening.